Hello, Maddie here. I picked for this week one of my all-time favorite books. I picked it because it's easy to talk about it. I love talking about it, and I know that I will not run out of things to say to you, even if I'm tired. So, that book is The Countess Below Stairs by, I say her name, Ibbotson. If you can see it, look at how weird that last name is. Ibbotson. Ibbotson is how I say it, but I have no idea if that's correct. This gem, I think I found it at a half price almost 10 years ago now. And the first time I read it, I actually read it out loud to my mom and sister because my mom had just had eye surgery and couldn't see anything. And, she was bored. So I was like, let's read this book that I found. And we ran into the issue that I was laughing so much towards the end of the book that I was, incoherent. And my mom and sister couldn't understand this wonderful, beautiful book. I love it for a myriad of reasons. It's not a book I necessarily recommend to your average male reader. It is a book I recommend to any female reader because it is a great story. It has a great set of characters. It's a great backdrop. It's got a great, the arc of, beginning, middle, end. But it also has a great romance in it. It's a cute book, and the romance is a very central part of that. But it's not like it's only a romance. Like I said, it has a great set of characters. The circumstances in the book, the things that happen are very interesting. And the resolution is one of the most bizarre resolutions I have ever read in my entire life. Because you do get where you want to go to, but how you get there is not at all what you were expecting. You can guess all you want. Not a single person has probably ever accurately guessed how this book, how it gets solved and ends the way you want it to. All of that to say, quick little, what is this book about? So it's called A Countess Below Stairs. The idea being there is a Russian countess who her and her family have had to flee Russia around World War I. And they have traveled to England, and their nurse type person who had all of their jewels ran away with them instead of meeting them at their rendezvous point. And the daughter of the countess, but because in Russia, the way that their titles got passed down, she is also a countess. She has to get a job as a maid in a house in England. That is getting prepared for the Earl to come back home post-World War I. And with him, he is bringing his fiancée. So that's the kind of basic setup for this book. And I love it. I have read and reread it so many times because it's a super quick read. It looks large. Gotta be a work in exacts. 383 pages, but the font is very large. And it's not super mentally taxing, and it's like concepts and vocabulary and whatever. You're not thinking super hard when you read it, but you are very much enjoying yourself. So it's a book like that. I've read and reread it many, many times because it makes me feel good. It makes me happy. It makes me laugh at the ridiculousness because when you think all hope is lost, it's not. But you think it is. So this book, like I said, it is very easy for me to talk about. It's one of the books I like to recommend the most. And it is one of the books that I include in my little Maddie free library, which has now grown to 2 bookshelves. It was originally 3 books just by our door. It's now, I can see it from here. So it's now at 16 books. And I've already given away a couple of books, one of them being A Countess Below Stairs. We had some friends over and I was in the midst of rereading this book. And so I had it out and I was talking about it and I was like, wait a second. And I ran because at the time I only had a couple of books by the door. I still had my book stash that was gifts in my gift stash They're now just all my books that were in my gift stash are now just all on my bookshelf. And so I gave her a copy of it because I was like, wait, I have a copy of it. And I currently have 3 copies. That does not include my personal copy, which is like, it's dying, but it's fine because it works. But it's one of the books I like giving away the most because it is so easy to pick up. It is so easy to enjoy, and it gives you all the feelings and it takes you through all the places. But I love that, it is set in a time and place that actually existed in terms of, countries trying to heal from World War I and lots of people being displaced and either being stripped of titles and a life that they were anticipating stepping into to stepping into a life that they never thought they would have to. Because so in this book, the main male, he had an older brother who was supposed to inherit this house and this estate, and he died during the war. And so he is now taking over and is the new Earl, and that was not anything he ever wanted. It was not a life he had all planned for, He had all these other dreams. And so they're trying to figure out, what does life look like and what does my life now entail? And while honestly, there's no telling if we'll live through another war, but we all will live through circumstances that leave us in places we did not plan for, we did not anticipate, and we don't know what to do with it. And what I love about this book, well, obviously I already love a million things about this book, but in this vein of a life that you didn't want or plan or anticipate, these characters legitimately just do the best they can with what they have and with what they know. They take advantage of the resources in front of them, people that do know what's going on, people that do understand things that they just don't get because they never had to understand how to do these things, how to negotiate, how to, deal with these social circumstances. And they don't shirk their responsibility. They don't run and hide and wallow. They instead embrace this life that they now have, that they can't run from, and they stride head on into it. And they are just doing the absolute best they can with what they have. And I think that's all any of us can ask of ourselves is, even if your life doesn't look like you thought it would, or even if it does look exactly like you wanted, things and circumstances and life is just going to happen in ways you weren't anticipating. And instead of ignoring it or, crawling in a hole, turning a blind eye, whatever, facing it straight on and dealing with it, but taking advantage of the people in your life, of the resources that you have, with all of those wonderful things like family and friends, community that you've built, jobs that you have, whatever. With all of these things, you can face anything that gets thrown at you if you're willing to. And that's not to say, oh, you can just handle any situation that comes your way. You got this. You can do it. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it is fun or enjoyable in any way, shape, or form. But I am saying that it is manageable. It is doable because you do have people around you that want you to succeed. You have people around you that want to help. But the thing is you have to ask for it because they might not even know that you are struggling, that you don't know what's going on. They don't know unless you tell them. And that is something I'm very guilty of. I'm very bad at saying things, even just like tidbits from my day. Everyone wants to be like, well, what happened? And I'm like, oh, it was fine, whatever. Well, it was a day. And then I remember a week later, oh, this thing happened that I wanted to tell you about, but I completely forgot about it. And I just don't tell people things. And so I have even really funny, interesting anecdotes that I just forget to tell to anybody ever. And in the same vein, I'm a little bit better at telling people when I'm struggling because I understand that I can't do it on my own. Maybe not every single moment of that struggle am I good at telling people, but in general, I'm pretty good about being like, hey, just being open and honest. Either, I can't hang out or I will be there, but I will be, kind of very quiet and very to myself because this is what I have to give. And that's going to look different for every single person. Life is going to look different for every single person, but the idea stays the same. The action plan is still the same in terms of bringing people in, allowing yourself to have moments of weakness and need help and guidance and saying, I don't know what's going on and I don't understand and I need somebody to help me. There's nothing wrong with that. So allow life to happen, but don't allow it to bulldozer over you or keep you from living it, which is a funny way to phrase it, but I feel like it makes sense. So now that we've gotten I feel like with these videos, I always manage to get on like one kind of random tirade in that I think books are amazing and wonderful. And I think you can learn lots of life lessons from books, no matter how simply written, no matter how cheesy or funny or crazy or whatever. I think there's lots to learn from books. I think there's lots to learn from book characters and stories and how they handle situations. So I just have lots of thoughts about this. However, with this book specifically, because like I said, it's one of my favorites, I have two things to say. The first one is, I've said this in a different video, and I've said it in blogs. There are quotes from books that stick with you, that come into your head and make you feel something. And this book has, maybe outside of Memory of a Large Christmas, my favorite quote that I feel it deep in my bones every single time that I read it. And every single time I read it, I just want to go up to somebody and say the quote and be like, don't you feel that? Okay. So the main character, Rupert, is getting married to not the right person. And Anna is a housemaid in his home. One of her main features is she has this beautiful, beautiful, long, thick, dark hair. She's well known for it, and that, her father loved it. It's something people remember about her from being all the way to a child, all the way to, being grown up. And it is something that Rupert has seen and loved because, this is a time period where men did not see women with their hair down, but he has seen her with her hair down. That's a whole just side scene. It's not super important, but it's a thing that happens. So he very much loves her hair. And Anna has decided that, it's like the 1920s. She wants to cut her hair super short. And Rupert's not a fan. He happens to see her. It's like Maiden's Over is like the town that his estate, whatever. He happens to see her out his solicitor's window, and he storms into the salon. And he and her are having a back and forth about why she can and can't cut her hair. And this is the moment that basically breaks him. And my heart. Okay, so he's going crazy, and she's just said, I'll look very beautiful for your wedding. Ah, yes, my wedding. The word reared up to meet him, banishing the last traces of lunacy. He became aware of Renee staring at him solicitously, of Elise and with her mouth open, clutching a towel. You will be very attractive for my wedding, he said lightly. For my funeral also. Je vous assure. It means I am sure. And this is the part. He lifted a hand, laid it for a moment on the rich, dark tresses where they mantled her shoulders, then turned it, letting the backs of his fingers run upward against the shining waves. For an instant, she felt his touch on her cheek. Then he stepped back. There. That was my ration for all eternity. People have died for less, I dare say. That's what gets me. That's my ration for all eternity. Doesn't that just give you chills? I can just imagine him running his hand up her hair and him feeling so hopeless, him wanting this woman so badly and knowing that he can't. It's really good. And I love that quote. For all the times that I hate being emotional, for all the times that I don't like being overwhelmed by the things that I feel, I'm reminded of these moments of powerful emotions that are worth feeling and are worth embracing. Powerful emotions aren't bad. They're part of being human, and you should allow yourself to feel things powerfully because good, bad, or anywhere in between. You're meant to feel things. You're meant to experience things. And you're meant to allow yourself those moments. You're not supposed to pretend they don't happen or put them to the side when you can neatly deal with them. You're meant to embrace the moments of overwhelming joy, sadness, confusion, desperation. So feel it. I know feelings can be a lot, but they can be so powerful and so incredible and so worth it. And that's where I get from this quote, is just the power, the absolute power of individual moments. So that was thing number one. So leading into my second thing, you can find it on this channel, but I have actually recorded the whole of A Countess Below Stairs. Now, it is not perfect. It was a mic or two ago. I recorded it for my sister for the Christmas of 2021. I recorded it because, so this book is also known as, I think it's The Secret Countess or something like that. So it has another title, and that's what you will find it under on, I think it's Audible. But the version on there is an abridged version, and it cuts out very important parts of the story. I have not personally listened to it because I've been told that it's awful by my sister, so I haven't listened to it. But from what I understand is like they just cut out entire things. And so for Christmas, I recorded it for my sister. It's, I think, somewhere around 8 hours long. Like I said, it is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It is not professional, but it does exist. And even I have listened to it because I love this book and I've wanted to listen to it, and it's not available on other platforms. If you are at all interested at listening to this book and don't hate my voice, you can listen to that video on my channel. It's like one of the first ones I posted. I'll link it down in the description. But fun factoid, I've recorded this whole book. So with all of that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great night, great week, great weekend, great month, great year. I hope you have all of the greats because you're truly worthy and deserving of them. So until next time, bye. 再见. I love it. Gotta love our finger hearts, Korean hearts. 再见. Hinata, Hinata, Hinata.